continue with my prior video in this that within like maybe one or two videos back, where I was saying that uh, it kind of kills the vibe a little bit to say it like that, but I was referencing forbidden knowledge with that, and I wanted to like follow up with that if I'm gonna talk like that. One thing that I think is a little bit of forbidden knowledge is that we actually do have like what would be called life really is magical. I grew up in a community in the Southwest where I had some really. If I think about some of the people that I grew up with and some of the experiences that I had, it is actually it approaches magic. Like one is that there was this. I remember when I was young, there was this girl who was she was all the way like maybe eighth grade by the time I was in first grade, and she was simply wonderful. She was simply beautiful to me. If you can imagine, so there's actually names for different levels like of a woman's life. So there'd be like maybe like a baby, a toddler, let's see, a baby, a toddler, I'm not sure like what you would call like just like a very small girl. Then you would have like like a maiden. A maiden is like a young woman, that's just now a woman, a lot of a woman, but not actually not a woman, not a married woman, but like just exactly becoming a woman is like a maiden. And then you would have like a like then there's like I don't know what there'd be like a woman. There's different level. Then like a matron would be like a mother who's like a matron would be like a mother with like respect and pull in a family in a community, probably of some age and stature. And then you would have there's different names for the development of a male and female. Like for a male, one word would be like the word lad. So like you would have like a child, a boy, and a lad. My understanding is that a lad is about that's where you're still a boy. I made another video about adolescence as being very unique because somewhere in adolescence, like anywhere from like late elementary, middle school, through early high school, but all the way near about the end of high school, sometimes it's like you're having some of the gifts and the blessings of being a child, but also some of the capacity and the understanding of being an adult. So you actually have a concept of right and wrong, and you also have maybe some adult uh, propensities and tastes as a young person. Although in our society, you're not of maturation or stature to actually experience some of what you can fathom in adolescence. And also a lot of life is like rapid jumping. So anywhere at that adolescent phase, you can very quickly jump from near about a boy to a lot of what a man is, but you haven't become coordinated and really seasoned and competent as a man, but you're existing a lot as a man. And some of those transitions are very difficult because like for me, when I got to the latter stage of that, like very late adolescence, early adulthood, actually of the Asian majority, I would have keen interest in things like Bible study and stuff like that, because I could appreciate the lessons within Bible study, but I wasn't appreciated for being at Bible study or to speak or tolerated to speak at Bible study. Now, some people would say that they're assuming that I'm so young that I couldn't have a genuine interest or contribution to Bible study. But some young people, they actually have experiences that when you're speaking of things at Bible study, they can reference and know what the hell you're talking about, even as a young person. But something about that transition about being uh, perceived as a man, to feeling as a man, ex- behaving as a man, and then being perceived as a man, a lot of that's very difficult. And in different societies, they would have a lot of like they would have a more formal or recognized process of what it challenge what it is to be a man, and or it may be similarly a woman. Some people have said that a different, like Rollo Tomasi has said that a difference between man and women is that women are appreciated as women for being like you don't usually doubt what a woman is. Oh, she's not a real woman. You don't hear that a lot unless maybe a woman is taking license or doing something that would maybe compromise her or a loved one's dignity or safety. Just not to judge anyone, but just that the way we behave, it affects what we're exposed to ourselves and others, and when you come into a relationship, you're vulnerable to one another, physically on many different levels, but also socially you're vulnerable to one another when you're associated at that point. Association is a vulnerability, whether in romantically or friendship or professionally, whatnot. Association is as much or more of a vulnerability as it is, or a liability as it is a benefit, but it can be a decisive benefit or a decisive liability. I choose to stay out of most associations as I can manage to, because I felt the brunt of how horrible it is to be associated with different people and things that we don't have shared values with. But all I meant to say is that so some of what there's a book called on manhood in the making, that actually speaks about that and contrasts different cultures about how a person is appreciated to become a man. But it's very difficult, and it actually starts before the age of majority, generally speaking, as it's appreciated in Western society. But it's very formidable and difficult. I myself am just now getting to really feel some of the sensation of being a man, as I'm near about my fourth decade. One sensation that I got like that is that, you know, we sometimes I've feared, I've been housing insecure for a long time as an adult. I've actually been homeless for intensive purposes, past what some people could appreciate. So I used to do different things that would be like a little bit lucrative, but some people would be like, damn, is he homeless? Like, like, yeah, but is he homeless? He kind of like, because I actually was, but I played it off, because when you're living under someone else's roof, you're kind of homeless like that. But all I meant to say is that you're kind of like beholden to different people, and you're intimidated by things like landlord. That sounds crazy as hell if you think about it. Landlord, you're my lord, but that's what the sensation is. But then sometimes when you're these different people have an interest in you, and they say and do things that are not like well thought out or even like proper, you start experiencing yourself have like responsibility on your hands, like different things I've done. You come to appreciate that actually they're actually quite egregious for telling another person what to do and think, whatsoever their stature or ostensible holding is in a capitalist economic society based on economic injustice and outright theft and slavery, whatnot. The capital that comes from that. So actually, me as a being, it is to no one to tell me what to do or think, as I have the capacity to make choices, and as I am not hurting other people and myself, because I'm still a member of this existence in this earth. So it would still be something unjust even to hurt myself, though I have agency. But for another person, another adult, to tell another adult what to do and think, it is not is it's wrong, and it's actually childish. And I just had that sensation recently, is that I'm nothing to be told what to do or think by anyone anyhow. And that's why I think that, you know, a lot of people, they I want to shout out a couple of things, is that a lot of people would support different things, like as far as like charity and whatnot. But if there was one thing I would support, one organization I would support, it would be the ACLU. I think that might be what's responsible for the weekend in this country. They've been around a long time, and they might have been around like when they have different labor disputes that actually amounted to us having a weekend. Back when you used to have like child labor and daunting, endless labor that did not stop until people were gone. Like in industrialism can be as brutal than slavery. It is another form of slavery, wage slavery, which we still have by and large, but there's different means of transcending that now that we're not available. But just no one in ACLU stands up for when different people are taken advantage of in different ways, because a lot of people are taken advantage of even by things that seem above board and intimidating, like businesses, landlords, what have you. But I'm not the first one to express that, and someone could do it better. But I was thinking today that would be a cool thing, if anything, to support. I've supported them in the past, but I wanted to get one more video about this. The reason I reference that is to talk about what is sponsorship in this life, both like products, activities, behaviors, and even love interest. I think that love interest is actually a sponsor, and that's why it's a little bit egregious to think that we can choose what our love interest is, that is our sponsors, because we more so line up with a sponsorship than what we would if you go into a sponsorship for economic incentive alone, that would be disingenuous. But I think that real sponsorship should coalesce with your life path, and you should meet somewhere. It's like, oh, you're here, I'm here, bumping into each other on an elevator. That's how a real sponsorship should happen in life, whether that be romantic or something. So I'm sponsoring apples with this video. I'm sponsoring good old natural apples from the earth. I don't even know what the hell brand that was I ate. and I'm sponsoring the ACLU with this. And I haven't talked to them recently, but I used to pay to them, and I was thinking how significant they are. And I'm sponsoring people to be adults and not have anyone or anything the fuck tell people what to do or think. That's what I sponsored.